Hello YouTube vintage stereo collectors. Now you can't tell what this is because the faceplate is off. You might be able to now, but it's actually a Pioneer SA-5200. This thing is so nicely built. The lid, the steel is nice and thick. It hardly bends when you take it off. This was kind of the last of an era in the early 70s. These are built 73, 74. And what I mean last of the year is look at the way it's constructed. All the separate boards, preamp board, power supply board, power amp board. Just put this to the side. You don't want to drop this faceplate on your foot. You might need stitches. Tone control board, separate cap there. Some connections back here. These still had a lot of hand wiring, and they did a couple weird things on Pioneers. Rather than soldering like a Kenwood or a Sansui, there's a lot of this wire wrap gun stuff. It's all over. Some switches directly soldered in. And one issue with wire wrap guns, first of all, I've done hundreds of thousands of wire wrap connections. I used to work for a telecommunications company, and the switching equipment that I used to hook up, that's how we connected it, and we did thousands of jumpers per exchange with those wire wrap guns. Probably why I have some arthritis developing in my hands. Anyway, another interesting thing, I just did a video about a NAD with a bad power switch. Well, this Pioneer had a bad power switch. I already threw it away, but I actually have some of these. This is an Alps that was new old stock that I put in its place. The one that was in, it was just completely, I couldn't save the contacts, even burnishing them with emery cloth. So I just replaced the switch, and the knob slip fits on the plastic shaft, and somebody had glued the knob on the old switch with some kind of epoxy. So what I basically had to do was break it off, stick my soldering iron in, don't take any deep breaths, kind of burn the goo out, and then fill it with hot glue and quickly put it on the new switch and hold it so that it's level. But it works nicely. Just little tricks. Another thing to point out about this one, great power transformer in it. Now this is rated as 10 watts per channel RMS, and I can tell you right now, it will sound like 50 or 60 watts because peak power, that's where it's going to be. These were overbuilt and over-engineered, and it's amazing, like it still did work despite being almost 50 years old. And it was well cared for. There's not many marks or scratches on it, just a few things. One of the things I want to mention at the end of this video was cleaning means a lot when you're restoring these. I'll show you these little switches here. Those boards and switches were covered with some kind of white lithium grease. Somebody had actually injected grease into those switches to quiet them, to get them to stop squeaking, I don't know. And it was even in the volume control. Some kind of spray grease. I know there used to be TV tuner spray like that had white grease in it. The best stuff for these, give them a good flushing with Neutral. This isn't a product endorsement, it's just what I use. Neutral is almost the same chemical formula as some others that are out there. It's basically whatever works for you. Neutral is a bit nasty. The fumes aren't that great, but it lasts in the controls for several years. So I just flushed it out, Q-tipped everything off. Some people do a wholesale cleaning when they're doing a restoration. That's where they spray stuff on the whole board. Some people use water, some use a pressure washer. I don't know, I just don't think that kind of vigorous cleaning makes sense. What I kind of do is go bit by bit. So when I first open the lid, I spray it out with compressed air. Get all the loose stuff out. Then as I work on a board, for instance, I'm going to recap this board here. So what I do is, as I do each component, I do the surrounding area with a Q-tip with a little lighter fluid or alcohol on it. So I kind of go bit by bit, and then when I'm done I have a clean board. And then where the board was mounted, I give it a little wiping out as well, with a some kind of a wipe, whatever works. I find lighter fluid actually gets most of the grime out, especially if there's greasy residue. And so, as you work your way around different stages of the amp, checking them, cleaning them, then when you're done, you have a completely clean amp and you haven't stressed it out. This guy's kind of old and he doesn't want to be jerked around too much. I don't know what to say. Like, whatever works for you, but the idea is to not damage the equipment. Anyway, thanks for watching and listening.